Hi, I'm Pam and I'm here to talk about video games. Today I'm continuing on with my favorite games of all time, this time covering numbers 65 to 61. Again, this portion of the list is quite eclectic, and the release dates of the games span 23 years. 65 is the debut of the Final Fantasy series on a 6th generation console, and a game I still find beautiful. Final Fantasy X was developed by Squaresoft and released for the PS2 in 2001. It's a JRPG that follows Titus as he finds himself displaced in the world of Spira. Spira is under constant attack from Sin, and summoners make pilgrimages through the world and attempt to defeat it. Titus soon becomes one of the guardians of the summoner Yuna, daughter of the last person to defeat Sin. I remember being amazed by the graphics in Final Fantasy X, and thinking that the gameplay looked just as nice as the cinematics from previous games in the series. The world is rich and colorful, and it's full of beautiful environments like the grassy plains of the Comlands and the magical glowing Macalania Woods. The combat system is engaging, and I'm a big fan of the sphere grid. I loved that you can move each character in the direction of your choice, letting you pick the kind of skill sets you wanted for each character by going off the normal path a little. The game does have its cringy bits, like, well, Titus, or the fact that Yuna always sounds like she's out of breath, but it's a beautiful, sad story. I really loved the journey this game took me on. As Yuna and her guardians went through each area of Spira, we were being introduced to them for the first time, but at the same time, we were also saying goodbye. Next is an NES classic, which is on the NES Classic, that's so well designed that it completely won me over when I played it for the first time not too long ago. Mega Man 2 was developed by Capcom and released on the NES in North America in 1989. It is an iconic action platformer. As Mega Man, you must defeat 8 robot masters, which you can take on in any order you choose, before going after the diabolical Dr. Wily. Everything in this game is great. The visuals, the music, the tight controls, the variety of weapons, and the ability to come up with your own strategies for how to take on each level. I really liked the energy meters in the game. Weapon energy ensured you weren't wasteful, while the health meter meant the game wasn't as punishingly difficult as many other platformers of the time, as you rarely ever experienced getting 1 or 2 hit killed. I especially love the game when it requires strategizing. One of my favorite parts involved destroying turrets with clockwork bombs. You only have enough energy to shoot so many times, so you need to figure out the order in which you need to shoot the turrets in order to get everything without running out of energy. Likewise, right before you finally face Dr. Wily, you need to take on each robot master again. Here you also need to be strategic and try not to waste weapon energy. If you waste your shots and end up with no energy for the final boss fight, you're out of luck. Mega Man 2 is one of the NES games that, even with no nostalgia on my part, definitely stands the test of time. 63 is a real treat for fans of Greek mythology, and fans of eviscerating the figures from Greek mythology. God of War was developed by Sony Santa Monica and released for PS2 in 2005. It's a third-person action-adventure game where you take on the role of Kratos, a very angry Spartan warrior. He's on a mission to kill Ares, the god of war, as he was responsible for the deaths of Kratos' wife and child. He also takes out pretty much any other god or creature that stands in his way. I was really into Greek mythology in high school and was always reading books of myths or watching Xena, so when this came out, I knew I needed to play it. God of War plays and looks great. The animation is top-notch, and the way Kratos' blades of chaos fly and dance through the air is stunning. The combo-based combat is fast-paced and fun, but the real standout is the boss fights. They're incredible set pieces. Each one incorporates QTEs when you're finishing off a boss, and though I know not everyone is a fan of those, I've always liked them. They let the game feel a little more cinematic and give you an opportunity to really take in the violent spectacle happening on screen. Though for some reason I never played the other games in the series, my experience with God of War was a memorable one. Next is a less well-known but totally charming role-playing game in a fantastic steampunk setting. Arcanum of Steamworks and Magic Obscura was developed by Troika and released on PC in 2001. It's a role-playing game that opens with the Zeppelin you are on being attacked by orcs and crashing, leaving you as the only survivor. A gnome who was on the Zeppelin with you gives you a ring and asks you to find the boy before succumbing to his wounds, giving you your first quest of the game. The world of Arcanum is what makes it so great. The Kingdom of Cumbria is made up of all the usual fantasy races, but revolves around a unique dichotomy between magic and technology. You can see the struggle between the two everywhere you go, and it plays a major role in your own character development. The cities and towns you visit are full of life and people who need your help. Their reactions will hinge on how you've built your character, and the skills you've picked up allow you to solve problems in different ways. The game isn't perfect, but Troika had an amazing ability to create games that felt like masterpieces, despite obvious flaws. And last at 61 is an action-packed game that is full of humor, where I get to be the boss. Santro Three was developed by Volition and released in 2011. It's a third-person action-adventure and shooter. In it, you play the boss of the Third Street Saints, a gang who, after the first two games, has gained fame and popularity, but still needs to fight the occasional turf war. Before I played any of the Saints Row games, I just assumed that they were Grand Theft Auto knockoffs, and I don't care for GTA. But they're so much more. Saints Row 3 is great because it's hilarious and over the top. There aren't a lot of games that can make me laugh out loud, but this one did many times. It features ridiculous missions like chauffeuring around a tiger who will get mad if you drive poorly, and has fantastic set pieces. Parachuting onto the terrace of a penthouse apartment and wreaking havoc, while Kanye's Power plays, feels pretty freaking badass. The game's use of music is definitely one of the highlights. From the music that plays on the radio while you drive around, to the music that accompanies the big action scenes, or showcases of the Saints bonding together, it's all perfectly selected and enhances everything. I also love the amount of customization you can do with your character. The boss I created, voiced by Laura Bailey, was one of the player-created characters I've most enjoyed playing in a game. That's it for this episode. I hope you'll be back for the next. If you missed it, check out the last episode in this series, or watch my full review of Mega Man 2. I also have a Patreon if you would like to support these videos. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.